Hi, welcome to the latest installment in this short series on Irish surname origins. Um, Today I'm going to be talking about Huguenot surnames. Again, these are very brief introductory. What I'm going to give you is threads that you can pull yourself if you want. Okay, so first of all, let's go to the website as a jumping off point. Right, here we are, and we go into the free browse section, the articles section, the surname data subsection, and into surname origins. And this is a list of the various groups who have contributed to the great stew that is the Irish surname ecology. And today, as I said, we're going to be talking about Huguenots. Um, Huguenots, there's more on them there. It's pretty basic, but you can do that. Huguenots were Protestant refugees from France. They were Calvinists. They were a brand of Protestantism that is more akin to Presbyterianism today than to the Anglicanism of the Church of Ireland. So they were very intense. Um, Not to say a little fanatical. They also tended to come from the south and the west of France. So from Brittany right down through Languedoc down to Toulouse, that sort of area. There were constant rows in France between Protestants and the very Catholic French kings, and the Edict of Nantes granted them toleration. But there was an awful lot of friction that went on, and eventually in 1685 it was revoked completely, and there was this outpouring of Huguenots, mainly to across the English Channel to England, and from England then into Ireland, and eventually to America, and so on. One of the things about the Huguenots that makes them a bit different than for example, the Palatines is that they tended to be quite skilled or prosperous. There was a very intense network of business connections and personal connections, like persecuted minorities the world over. They stayed with their own, and because of that, they did business very well. They made profits very well. They were trustworthy. Okay, so let's go and have a look at some of the surnames that ended up in Ireland. Again, there were various acts passed in Dublin, or the Dublin Corporation admitted Huguenots to the freedom of the city. There were special facilities set up for them all over the country. Again, this is part of the old Irish sectarian argument. These were Protestants. Bring in more Protestants, outnumber the Catholics. That was part of the argument. But anyway, they came, and many of them stayed. And this is a list of Huguenot surnames. Um, and you can see they're very distinct. Ainger, Blanche, Bossonnet, Beauvais, Bulmer, Charters, Choisy, Fenelon, all these are quite distinct. They're there, they've been there from the 17th century, so they're early. The Angers, they're you can see Anger Street in Dublin. If you know Dublin at all, it's a very long street on the south centre of the city, and you can see all the Angers where they were by the mid 19th century. Um, and you can see that they from the town of Angers, that's just outside Nantes in the west of France. Um, you can see there's a whole Bulmers, cider makers, business people. Angers, again, they were business people. If you look at, um, for example, Latouche is a very famous Huguenot name, a bit more widespread. They were bankers, again, this in a position of trust. People who were trusted by people who had property, as simple as that. And that, like Quakers, like many other Methodists and so on, they tended to be trusted because they were so strong in their beliefs, and their beliefs included a very strong belief in sin. So again, there are lots of ones that you might not think were, for example, Moran. It's O'Muran, O'Mureen in Gaelic, but it's also a Huguenot connection in Ulster. So that again, like most Irish surnames, most um, parts of the Irish surname world, one group shades off into another very easily. for example, there's Lemass there, Lemaitre, Seamus, not Seamus Lemass, the very famous Irish Prime Minister, Sean Lemass, um, thought to be the French Lemaistre. In fact, no, they were earlier than that. They were Catholics earlier on. So I mean, they sometimes the names are wrong. Sometimes the surname histories are wrong. Sometimes a Huguenot surname is adopted as a Gaelic, an anglicized version of a Gaelic surname. So, but this is you can play around with these. There's a good list of them there. There's again, if you want to see what there are, what there is about Huguenots in the blog, you can check there. There's nothing there, obviously, so you needn't do that. The Irish Roots column archive, various things about the Huguenots there. So anyway, this is a jumping off point. It's something I thought might be interesting, and it complicates the narrative about Irish surnames. And as all complications, it's very welcome. Thank you very much for watching. Happy hunting.